wildlife and nature images for many years. Now, YASHPAL is mainly focusing to create exclusive environmental portraits of rare species in their natural habitat. During his journey, YASHPAL was inspired by many photographers. It was Mr. Anup Shah, a UK-based photographer, whose work gave direction to YASHPAL's photography to take it to the next level. YASHPAL believes that understanding the behavioral aspect of the species and its habitats are equally, rather, most important to make impactful images. Before heading on a shoot, YASHPAL reads the trip reports of the place, species, and its habitat. He also sees the work done by other photographers, certainly not to copy their work, but not to repeat the same compositions. Based on these planning inputs, he will pack his camera and equipments and sets off for the shoot. YASHPAL is a Canon user and uses lens ranging from 15mm fisheye to 500mm telelens depending on what the situation demands. His favorite lens to an unknown destination would always be a 70-200mm f1.8. He also uses Adobe Lightroom for processing his images. Coming to what he loves to shoot the most, any guesses, guys? Yeah, I can hear someone called right. It's a jumbo, the elephants. He loves to shoot his elephants again and again because they are social animals and are full of emotions just like us. Based on his observation of elephants over the years, he says wild elephants are strong but gentle. They are also intelligent and very sensitive. Over the years, he has won many awards. Here are the few to name. Nature's Best USA in 2012, DJ Memorial Award in 2014 and 15, Terry Savage Nature's Award France in 2017, Nature in Focus in 2019, Sanctuary Asia Wildlife Photographer of the Year in 2019, Siena International Italy in 2019, and recently, last month, he won Photographer of the Year in Nature in Focus. His images are extensively published in print and electronic media throughout the world. He has tied up with a UK-based stock agency called the Nature Picture Library. He connects with his fellow photographers through social media, photographic events, and online webinars. He also conducts regular wildlife photo tours in India and Africa. As per YASHPAL, good images are technically perfect, they are sharp and well exposed, but great images are aesthetically pleasing, evoke emotions and questions in the mind of viewers. Among his long list of outstanding images, he loves the process of creating these images, and his series of images on domicile cranes created from great perspective are his favorites. YASHPAL says in the next 3 to 4 years, he will concentrate to capture images, especially Indian wildlife, and show it to the global audience. He has set his goal to get Indian caracal and clouded leopard in its habitat, fishing cat in mangrove habitat, and the list continues. Further, he wants to spend many months or years in a particular ecosystem or with a particular species and try to create some interesting and exclusive stories instead of the individual images. YASHPAL says the most rewarding part of being a photographer is having the privilege of being in the nature. The very fact that nature amazes you and us with new surprises every day. His tips to budding young photographers is taking sharp and well-explored images are not the end. It is just the beginning. Photographers need to keep visualizing constantly. It's the photographer's mind which creates new images and not the camera. So with this, friends, I hand over the mic to YASHPAL ji. And friends, let's all board the airplane with him, fasten our belts, sit back, relax, and enjoy our trip from dawn to dusk in African savannah. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manju Mohan sir, for such a nice introduction. And I'd like to thank Mr. Satish and YPS team for making me the part of this Wildlife Week celebration and giving opportunity to interact and share some of my nature journey, what I call as a journey of joy with YPS members and fellow photographers. So when I was invited to give it a talk, I was wondering what should be the structure of the talk, and because wildlife photography over the year, in and even in the India, it has been like It's a vast field now, and we have many genre like macro, landscape, bird photography. So, and within an hour of time, I wanted to be like no, a meaningful discussion where the viewer and especially the budding photographers or the young photographers who are listening to our talk take something out of it. So then I thought, why don't I do a virtual African safari? Because in this COVID era, most of the things we are doing in virtual environment only. Like today's our this Wildlife Week celebration, also we are doing online virtual mode, and an African safari is like always a wish list of most of the wildlife photographers because abundance of wildlife and open savanna of Kenya provide excellent opportunity to on your photography skill. So today I will take you like a day trip, uh, how we do in when we are in Masai Mara or in some part of the Kenya, and we'll use some tools and give some detail about how technique I use. So it is not about I'm just showing you some photographs which I have taken, but I will take you through a process that how we start our day and how we use a first light, and then how gradually as the day progress and how as the light changes what kind of images we can make and how we can make most of the most use of the light what is available to us. And there might be something which you most some of you might not be comfortable, or some of you might not be doing it because I might be doing something which not unusual or something different. As Manju sir told, I always try to divide my time in the field between doing the regular stuff which we expect to do when you are in a photography tour, and then I want to divide some of my time to do something in sense, give some thought, uh, give some experiment, some try out something. If it works it good, if doesn't work it good. We don't do something standard, like no, you got the point what I'm saying. So some of the ideas which I do in the field, whether it is a changing different perspective or using different type of angles and all that thing. And why I choose the light as a axis of today's talk, because when we talk about photography in a general, we say that photography is just a capture of light. That is a technical definition what we say, na? So depend on what kind of light, quality, quantity, direction, color of the light, the mood of the image will be decided, isn't it? So before I take you onto the Safari, I will just share my PDF screen, and then we continue. I just give you some example that which I did in India, and how a simple change in light can suddenly change the mood of the image. So we'll get the context that what today I am going to talk. Okay, so give me a couple of seconds. I just share my screen. Uh, so is it screen is on? Can somebody technically can tell me? Technical guys. Yeah, I think it's on. Let me put it into the full view. I think it is full view also. Is it? Yes. Okay. Thank you, Srinath, for updating. So, as I was saying that before we move ahead, I would like to give you some examples that how a light actually uh, sets the mood. So now this is a photograph of Deccan banded gecko and Amboli. Those who go for macro photography, na? This is one of the sought out endemic to Western Ghats. A beautiful gecko. You see the pattern on his screen. So this is one of the image which I wanted to capture. And honestly, I tell you, when I went on this photography tour, this is what something I had in mind. That okay, a beautiful gecko, and that they use their tongue to clean the eye because they don't have eyelids, so they use their tongue to wipe the or keep the eyes clean. So I was very happy with this photograph, and I was lying on the flat on the ground and must be shooting with 100 macro, and the flash was on. So when I took this photograph, and then you can see that the this water droplets are there. So I was uh, seeing through the viewfinder that how the image came, no? Sharpness and all that thing. So those droplets were uh, were nicely visible, no? Because they have a screen is the water repellent screen, so the water droplets will be. The rain has just stopped just few minutes back, and so because I know beforehand, being in a nature, we have very few nature element like water, like the sun, dust, all are like our friends when we do photography. As and when we get an opportunity, and if we can add these element into our photo with the subject, the photos will enhance, the value of the photo will go up. So because I know what the water can do if we use a backlight, so then I just shifted the torch to the other side of the subject and around 45-degree of the camera and put a backlight. Now you see those subject is same. I'm also at the same place, same equipment, and we have just changed the direction of the light. Now the flash is not there, and instead of flash, I'm using a torch light. The torch beam is coming and falling on a subject, and now if you see closely, the all those water droplets which are on the gecko are glittering, isn't it? The simple change of light direction completely change the mood of the picture. Now, if you see both the picture individually, they are a complete picture on its own. Nothing is good, nothing is bad, or this is better, or this is not good, or like that. What I mean to say is, if you know how a light can change the feel of your image, accordingly, you can do. If you want a nature history from point of view, want to create an image, the first image is good. If you say that photography is a art and you want to be little more creative in a some way where you want to not show obvious, obvious means which people expect, the first picture which expect, the second picture you created, where your photographer's thought process went into the frame, and then you came up with the second photographs. So that is how the light make difference. I give you another example also. This is again the wrinkle frog, endemic to Western Ghat, Humayun wrinkle frog, same Amboli area. Again, when I went in the night walk, my idea was to, the male was guarding the nest, and this is the picture on the right was what I was looking. So when I got this photograph, it has a complete picture. That's how they breed. The tadpoles will fall into the stream which is flowing under it. But after getting this picture, I was seeing that because the flashlight has, I have no control on the flashlight. It will fall here and there also, other than the leaves. So you can see there are a lot of twigs also has been illuminated by the flashlight. Then again, because tripod was already set and the camera was already focused, I was using some, I think, 2470. So again, what I called a concept called work on your base image. Once you have some image, you did something, and then you, instead of winding up, you give it a thought. Ki, is it there any scope of improvement? Is there? Is something I can add, or some element can be added, or something can be removed, or the light source can be changed here and there, and then can effect can be different. So again, the light went at the back side. Now the image in the second also convey the same message, but it is in more little artistic way. My the viewer eyes will be only focused on the leaf, and the message is there. The frog is guarding the eggs, and the eggs are visible, but there is no destruction around it. Those twigs which was glowing, because the torchlight I can control. I can control how much the beam should be there, and how where the spell should be there. So that is how a same subject again, same place, camera is exactly at the same place, no changes, only the direction of light completely change the mood of the image. You're getting where I'm taking you. So the direction of light, because we are discussing direction, so light, so that's what I'm just focusing on the light, but there are many things which can affect the image overall. But we should not rush that, okay, this is over and then we move on to the second image or other subject. We should sit there, give it a thought, think over it, and that is where I want to say, build on your base image. Once you have something, and then try to work over it. Another example, Tal Chapar. I was there for a few days, and the black bugs are always fighting there, mostly during the breeding season. Now, both picture has a same concept. Both are I'm using 500 mm sitting on a beside my car on the ground, and one is early morning. See the treatment of the image where the dust is been blown by the. We know that the dust and anything, smoke, everything. If the backlight comes, it will glow. So both pictures are complete on their own, but the direction of light, one is the front light and one is the backlight, makes a huge difference in the image. Got it? So that is how the light can change the mood of your image. So now I take you to the Africa, and so let's see how we can create, how we can use the light there, and what all possibilities are there. So today when I have taken uh, Africa safari as a reference, but it can be in India safari also. It can be like anything. But why I have taken this, because the it is like a dream destination, and I know many of the young photographers or budding photographers who are watching this thing. They have a everybody has a desire to go to Africa because of abundance of wildlife what we have there, uh, and the and the opportunity means too much actually. You can shoot whole day. People say that I shot 500 GB, I shot this much during a course of week or something like that. So opportunity is there that really you can you can experiment something, you bring, and you can, like those ideas you had, photography ideas, but you never able to execute them. There is a, so you can really hone your photography skill when you are in Africa trip, because of the sheer number of species, varieties, and numbers of animals and the opportunities that is provided. So now when I start our safari, uh, we early, very early morning. Very early morning means around 5 o'clock, dark night. We know where we are heading. The previous night information, or the where we have left something, either it is a cheetah family or the lion family, but we leave very early because with a packed breakfast, just have a cup of coffee. And one of my most favorite technique is to create unique and compelling wildlife imagery is backlighting. I love backlight. And why I love backlight? Because in 2011, when first time, I think 2011 when we went first time, and I was with Dr. Ish and another a good friend Anuji, and Anuji introduced to me. We were on a river crossing, and when this migration happened and the river crossing possibilities are there, then we really have to wait sometime for hours, like 3 4 hours, 5 6 hours. The build up will happen, they will not cross, and so we were waiting there. And then there was uh, a legendary photographer, Shri Anup Shah was there. He's like permanent there. Nobody have shot African wildlife more than him. So he is iconic. Many people doesn't know because he's not on social media, so they don't get updated what he's doing. But he's the one, like author of 12 plus books, winner of Nature History Museum BBC award like more than 14 times. Nobody is close to him. Amazing photographer, humble, down to earth, Indian origin. So he welcomed us, बातचीत किया, introduced by Anuji, that friend of mine. After talking sometime, uh, he understood that he is not a touristy person, है ना. So he is, उनको समझ आ गया कि भाई सीरियस टाइप बंदे हैं. So I asked him, sir, कि first time Africa आए, what should be your guidance and what should be the like a good tip for us. तो उन्होंने बोला, यशपाल, the best light is backlight, then quarter, then half, and then the front light. So मतलब 2011 में, उससे पहले मेरे लिए बेस्ट लाइट वाज द फ्रंट लाइट. सुबह सुबह फर्स्ट थिंग व्हाट वी यूज्ड टू डू, द लाइट शुड कम फ्रॉम बिहाइंड आवर शोल्डर and should fall on the subject, and the subject should be nicely lit, kind of thing. So it took a time to observe that कि backlight is a best light. Sometime backlight से कुछ किया करके ठीक है, but उस time we were growing, we were learning photography. So, but the legend has said so. I took it very seriously, and I start from the next day. I started working on the backlight. So the first thing what I do is then the results start coming, the and the results start showing off. So that is now my set pattern. First 2.5 hours I will do the backlight. Now, when you are seeing some of the pictures which I'm showing on the side, so when the I started getting result, the backlight is basically backlight means the light source is behind the subject. Means subject is between the light source and the photographer. The light source in nature photography obviously will be the sun. So the when if you use correctly the backlight photographs draw attention to the form and you see these giraffe pictures. Everybody everybody knows how giraffe looks. सबको पता है ना? Everybody from nursery book we know how the giraffe looks, or the picture of that just I shown you the elephant picture. Everybody knows how Africa looks. African elephant appears, how they looks. So जरूरी नहीं है कि we have to show them properly well lit, but see the mood of the image, isn't it? So the form, the shape of the subject, the warm, inviting tone of the morning natural light will add contrast and vibrancy in your image, isn't it? You will feel more connected. So basically, backlight can be used in two ways. If the light is really strong, we can use to create a nice rim light around the subject, depend upon subject, or otherwise we can use to create silhouette. So first we take the rim light, how we rim light can be created and what we have to look when we have to create the rim lights. And little later at the evening when the dusk time will come, we will look with the silhouette. Okay. So now this is a cheetah, very famous cheetah Malaika, and you see the light is falling and the nice rim light kind of effect is created around the subject body, isn't it? And there is no the subject is not properly exposed how it should be technically, but you can make out this is cheetah and is well lit. So when you're doing this kind of photography, our idea is not to get a correct exposure. See, जो कैमरा ऑटो में करता है वैसा वाला नहीं, not that correct. What as a photographer you want. Our objective is that light, the rim light which is around the subject should not burn. So we have to, if you do spot metering, take a metering from the that glowing part of the hair, or from the sky which is almost similar lit, and do your exposure lock, and focus will be always on the subject because subject is what we want to focus. Or if you don't know spot metering and it's a little complicated, start with full -1 stop, and then you see how the effect is. See the histogram if it is not touching to the right or something like that. Accordingly, you can compensate plus minus and try to get it. So normally we say that we have to go low when we are doing silhouettes or something, na, ground level. But this you try to keep a little darker background. Darker means a ground as a background instead of a sky. I just give you another picture, you will get the idea. See the mood here. The lionesses is walking in the morning light. Sun is, you can see where the sun is there from the light is coming on the top left corner. And the nice hollow effect around the lionesses. And all the grass blades are glowing. So you have some very, interesting image. And this male lion, just early morning, we got him. Because if you don't get them early, then you get them, but they will mostly sleeping. So that is wow. See, nice. The mane is glowing. The beard under the chin is glowing. And if you take a proper rim light effect, I will tell you how in post processing you can image further enhance it, and you can really create amazing creative stuff. Huh? So when we are doing now, this cheetah was on the mount. So if you see closely, observe it. The hollow effect is coming till ears, and after that, it is disappeared. The reason is the background is getting brighter as you're moving up behind the subject. You see the background is brighter. The effect will be there, but it is getting merged with the sky. So what we have to do? We have to shoot little. Now like same, this is a young male lion. You can see the nice glowing effect here, but the head is above the horizon. So there you will not see the effect. If Mohan sir is watching it, then we were together in different vehicle. We were shooting this, I think 3 4 years back. So you can see that effect is there. So idea is that we have to keep subject within the horizon line. And again, he is doing some marking, and you can see that dust is glowing in the backlight. So that is how the backlight can be created. Now, again, it will depend on subject also. Now, this rhino is again the nice setting, the early morning, nice atmosphere, isn't it? But because the subject doesn't have a hair coat around it, so it will not glow. If you see the only little bit on the ear, the hairs are there. So choice of subject is there. Elephant will not glow, or the most of the cats will glow. Their hair, they have nice hair around their body that will glow, or the elephant will not glow. The first picture you have seen it, but the knowledge of subject is important and the technique is important. So we have to shoot to the ground, standing on the vehicle, and start with -1, -2, and then you can create some nice. So subject is important and the technique is important. Now see this lionesses again. It is on the same concept where I did this rim light kind of thing, and now I created into backlight and played with highlight and shadow, and then that rim light concept start creating some interesting picture. Interesting in a sense that is different than what obvious people will expect a lioness to look like. So I will just try to show you that it is not that complicated in Lightroom or in post processing to convert that into such kind of images. So it doesn't look like that बहुत Photoshop किया होगा काला कर दिया type ना. It's not that complicated. And so just let me see if I can just able to move into Lightroom for a second, and is if I am able to do it. Okay, great. So I think just somebody can just Srinath, can you confirm Lightroom is there? Okay, so Lightroom is visible. So this is the picture, and I just reset it. Okay, so we reset it. Okay, now I have to reset here. Okay, so we reset it. This is how we have photographed it. What is this? Okay, and this is the same lionesses we have photographed, couple of minutes here and there. Now in this, the background is same. That we have a darker background, but the light was coming from the left side, so it is not falling on the face. And in this, the light is falling onto the face. So what I'm doing is I'm just converting into black and white. The basic uh, post processing. I just wanted to show that we can work further onto this kind of images, and I just made black -100, and then I reduce the exposure also. I reduce it fully -5. So screen is black. Now I just start adding exposure -3, -2. You can stop wherever you feel as a photographer. All these are subjective. What my test can be, it can be different for you. So suppose now I am here and somewhere here, suppose -2.5. This is what. Now I just push highlights little bit so that the rim light can be little prominent, and again I push exposure little low. So now those who know wildlife, they can easily make out that this is lionesses. There is no big thing, no? But it has been presented in a little creative way. Creative way that at least a viewer will have a 2 5 seconds. He will stop on, if you post on Instagram, he will just not swipe it. He will have to have a closer look how it has been created. So that's how you can create. If you have a source image with you, then post processing another 20. Suppose there would have been another highlight here and there. You could have used bunt or dodge little bit, and you could have get rid of those highlights, and you could have created a beautiful creative image kind of thing, isn't it? So I just go back to our PPT, and let me go full screen control. Okay, so we are back to our presentation. So this is how the lionesses can be created. Now, For me, I would like to show Linus's portrait like this rather than I should have shown the other photograph. That would have not come like that because there was no rim light effect. So by if you don't have a source file where you can work, then you will not able to create. So पहले basic field में जो काम करना है, what you have to work in the field you should do, and then in post processing, obviously 20-30% enhancement can be done. So we move further, and on the same concept, now this is a picture. Those who know mammals behavior or the cat behavior can make out what is going on. But I have minimized the information. Minimal information is there. I am not making it too obvious that अरे ये तो दूसरा चीता है, isn't it? It's just another picture of cheetah. Same concept. It was a backlight. I just reduced. Now you can guess it. What it is doing? It is a spray marking on a tree. We had a nice glowing effect, and then just same concept which I just shown you. Another picture. Now I just kept because it was a vertical picture. Now in the picture on the left is the lionesses, and the cub is just uh, interacting with the mother, and there's lots of grass blades around. The affection between mother and son is been shown here, and the picture is the left is the same picture. I just converted into the black and white, and I just kept the information, the message which I wanted to show, that there's an interaction between mother and a cub, and not that obvious, little creative, but the concept of doing a backlight was there, so you were able to do it. If you would not have done this, now again there was no money in guessing this. uh, there is a lionesses and two cubs, again minimum information, the same. The backlight is photograph itself is a backlight, so it is possible to convert. A beautiful picture. I like this picture among the series which I made in last 3-4 years. uh, a, a clear interaction between a leopard and a mother, and the message is she is nuzzling him, young cub, because the vehicle was, and the cub was little nervous, so he is just uh, kissing kind of thing, and simple photograph, no distraction. A viewer can easily relate that what is going on there in this frame. A cheetah mother is interacting with his cub. Got it? So basically, the idea is we have to first do experiment with lighting, try to create something, and then we come back home. We try to do some experiment in post processing also, because see, in digital era, post processing is part and parcel of the photography. If somebody is not doing it, this means he doesn't know it. Let me put it very simple. Somebody doesn't use flashes, it means he doesn't know how to use flash. Let me very blunt. People say that this is not good, that is post processing. अगर आपको आता है तो आप करिए, आपको नहीं आता तो you will not. So that is the hyena. Nobody want to see hyena very often, even not photograph much. But when you do little creative way, the hyena can be looked little bit interesting. People might want to put it in the wall as a part of a series or something like that. So this is the male line, something I just shown you in the backlight when it was colored light. By seeing it, you can make out that this is a line, isn't it? Again, nothing. This is the concept of you shoot against the light, and because when the morning sun rises above the horizon, it is stronger compared to the evening sun when it is sets. And the morning sun, when if you try to put it into the frame, it will spoil the overall exposure of the frame. It will make the shadows too dark or no. So it is good to avoid the sun and just shoot into the ground and keep ground as our background and use that strong sunlight to get this kind of nice, important effect on your subject, and which can be interesting to the viewer. Viewer might find something new you will be offering on social media or to your printer or to your publisher, so that they also feel something new. देखो क्या है friend, if you do a regular stuff, obvious thing, it will get an obvious response. Abhi, now the IPL started. I came few days back from forest, and if you see 5-6 year back, 3 year back, just forget 5-6. There used to be two standard camera, one on the screen wherever the bowler is bowling. Now today, if you see the IPL, there will be a cable camera which is giving a top view, and I've seen a buggy which is moving on the boundary to give you the ground level. So the perspective and the way you show the wildlife is has to be keep evolving. Many questions will come, sir. uh, keep asking कि क्या करना चाहिए, how to grow as a photographer. See, first though, don't do obvious thing, obvious subject, obviously, because if you do the same thing same way, the bird on a twig or a subject walking a tight frame, something, you will get a obvious response. Take a risk, experiment something. If it will work, it's good. If it doesn't work, you learn and then you experiment something more, and that's how things will move. So after the backlight, sun is coming, sort of strong हो गया, then the obvious, the next thing we will do will be the side lighting. And again, the side lighting is good. Instead of getting a full front light, side light is something. Okay, again some examples of backlight. See, the backlight as the same concept what I told you, uh, the gecko example I've shown you. Now, as a nature photographer, we should know that how the natural elements react. Now, I have a set in my mind in 2012 in Agumbe that droplets will glow if the light is falling, backlight falling onto them. The same concept is here. The migration is crossing the river. I'm using the backlight, and you can feel the energy. You can feel the drama is action is going on. The water is splashing and the water is glowing, isn't it? This is the colored picture. Again, the water is splashing, water is glowing. So backlight can really create something interesting in your photographs. So now we move into the side lighting. Side lighting, again, the light should be coming from either left or right, depend upon where your subject is there. And I have to run up fast. So accordingly, we will see the side lighting. So what side lighting do normally, we know as a photographer, the front light will make your image look flat, and the side light will create some shadow on the other side where the light source is not there. So the you will get some we will what we want to achieve is like a varied and a stark contrast in the tone of the subject, and the shine on one side of the light falls, adding a dramatic effect on the overall shot. So normally it's good to do a close-up portraits. If you do how we do in a studio light. Have you seen the Satish's lighting when he was introduced? Light was coming from one side, not a flat light. How it's falling on me now. So the direction of light really makes your subject look 3D kind of thing. Now the cheetah, the leopard is just came out of his feeding, and the light was falling from the right hand side. You can even the flat image, you can see the depth of the depth in the leopard body, because the light side lighting creating shadow and the light, and the is good. One light is lit, good for portraits. There will be a one stop difference between a lit side and the non-lit side. Good for portraits. Even this kind of photographs, side lit photographs, looks good in black and white. You will have some. No, it will be like little more contrast in the picture. So it will be interesting if we do a portrait side lighting compared to flat front lighting. Same light is falling. Same the portrait. You see the one light is lit by there's a shadow on this side. How the studio effect we create with the two light system, one the main light and the fill light. In the nature, there's a lot of reflection coming from the ground and all that. So it's a good if you use a side light and try to create nice portrait, interesting portrait. This is one of the rare sighting we had last year. Cheetah mother with 7 cubs. Never in the history of Masai Mara been 7 cubs has been reported. 6, and unfortunately I think till now 2 have survived. I'm not sure latest news. So again the male is this female is walking, and a beautiful light is falling from the one side, and the one light eye is beautifully grown. So they looks good in black and white. You can create a nice contrast between the subject, uh, both side of the face. So this is another thing which you can try, side lighting. And by the time you finish this thing, it will be around 9:30, 10. We take a breakfast break after 3 hour good session, and that is where normally my photography stops. But because if you are going to migration time and suppose there's a river crossing or something, but again now the time will start creating where you start using a different perspective. So after 10 10:30, because in equator or in the close to equator, the sun become very strong very soon. By 10:30 it will be really hot. So normally I will, if I have a 70, 200, 400, because I have a polarized filter. So it is time to put a polarized filter. You can cut haze, and your sky will, now the sky that warm has been disappeared, and now it will start becoming blue. So you can add more blue to your sky. So it is time to work on the front light, and I use flash also. Now this photograph which I'm showing, there's a herd was moving there, and because the light is falling from the top, the shadows start creating under the eye, under the underbellies and all that. So if you use a external flash, and there's something called batter beamer, I don't know, many people must be knowing, or snoot kind of thing, which can make your light reach little further, and so that light can reach little far. And that's how I wanted to show this female's body texture, no, skin texture. So I just put a light there, and you can see. And then this leopard who had just made a raided the warthog den, and he had got one baby, and he just brought under a bush, and he was feeding. It was, he was totally into the shed. So putting a light can really able to get the detail. So it is time where you use the flash into bright daytime as a flash to reduce the shadows. Now, obviously, our flash will not go very far, but as I told, by using a better beamer is a like a blind kind of thing, which let your light travel straight, not fall, and then there will be a some magnifying glass. They call it lens in front of here, very reasonably priced. Or you just can make a homemade snoot kind of thing, or magmod snoot kind of thing, which will let your light reach further than what you otherwise it will possible. So you can use as a fill flash in a daytime with a good light, just to get rid of the excessive shadow. And that's how and you can use a polarized filter if the subject is in open, to reduce the haze and that kind of thing. Now another concept which I use when I'm in field, that think wide and create wide angle perspective. See the places, even in Indian parks, many animals who used to see vehicle, safari vehicle regularly, are no, quite comfortable safari vehicle. In Africa, because I think the safari has been going on from ages, so animals are quite comfortable, and there is no poaching as such for the big cats, on no that much human pressure inside the park, so they are quite comfortable. So if we can follow the basic what I call etiquettes of nature photography, how to approach a mature way of approaching, like slow study, or let the subject come to you, something like that, then you really can create wider perspectives with being into the vehicle. Not like you have to, I do a lot of camera trapping, I'll do a lot of remote. So when I posted this picture, people thought that I must have used a remote control buggy or something like that. But such things, this is one of the iconic elephant called Craig, and it has a partner which passed away last month, 2 months back, I think, that Tim. And we were after this elephant. These are male, which is the biggest tusk, and there's a particular ranger who will be following them day in and day out. It's like they know that their behavior, how they are reacting, where they are, how their mood is there. So we approached with the ranger sitting in the front with our guide and driver, and we were just waiting for subject to come. There's two way of approaching the wildlife: either let the subject come to you, and or either way you approach the subject. Both is doable. So in this case, the subject is led, because we know what he is feeding and where he will be walking. So you go there, be a part of his ecosystem, wait there. You have to have patience to create such kind of photograph. This is not hurry burry job that aapko ye bhi karna hai, you have to shoot this also, that also. You know that if you can crack one or two good shots of such this such a mighty giant, no, it is done kind of thing. So you have to have patience, like-minded people, very quietly sitting and patiently waiting. Subject coming. It's not necessary you have to shoot at 16 mm and full frame. I'm talking even 25 to 50 mm. But the main important is getting low, getting that angle where you are looking up, and the beautiful sky in the background is coming into the frame. So that is important. It's not that subject has to be real. And I just show you that how, if you have it, you know the wildlife uh, behavior, or you are with the right person, you can really approach how closely to this. And this photograph is done by, see, this is the Tusk, and we three photographers in this thing. We were ready with wide angle much before the subject came. We already have kept our lens. We were holding our lenses in the hand, and we were ready. We were ready with the, that we only have to create a wide angle. ऐसा नहीं कि आप, you are shooting with 70-200 or 100-400 or 500 lens, suddenly you keeping that and making noise. No, we parked there, we are waiting for 10-15 minutes with the wide angle 24-17 16-35 kind of stuff. And nowadays we have a this new cameras have a LCD screen, can be, no, we can, it can come out, you can really see the composition. And with your experience before going to tour, we do a lot of home experiment, that we experiment with car and all that bala bala, which I will talk when we go on to the tour. And then you know what is, where to start, what will work, how to focus. And see, the same elephant, the same thing, you can really can approach them, and in fact they approach you, use not, and you can really create nice perspective if you have a thought process already, knowing that what you want to create. Similarly, see, that male was walking in the early morning in the marsh area, and it is walking on a track, and we just park it and waited him to come. And again, the concept is simple. The one guy is shooting with 70-200, he was not prepared, came with it. Now you can get the idea that how much difference will be there. This guy is having a monopod around 1.5 feet going down, and this is having a 70-200, around 2 feet difference between the angle of view. Subject is just 10 feet away from you, and the perspective will be totally different, isn't it? Now in this photograph, you can feel the endless plain, what we told the sky, the what we told about that Mara sky will be like, and then acacia tree. Subject is regular. We could have shoot with 70-200 also. We could have taken a nice portrait also. But simple implementation, knowing that what you want to create, you can make little bit different images. Same. This is we were knowing that this male is a partner of the same guy. He is walking on a track. So instead of we blocking, we just park on the side of the track and we waited. Let him pass in front of us. We were ready with our gears, and that is how this nice background, the sun rays are falling onto the ground. Such kind of images can be created. I just, again, this is a mating pair, and you can see the energy. You can feel that this is, I have done sitting in the front next to the driver, and you can feel the energy of they just finished the mate and waiting, and they were separating the aggression, and you can again get a nice wide angle perspective sitting into the vehicle. Just now, that's what I'm saying. Another concept where you can approach the subject. If subject is standing, is cooperative. It depends upon subject. See, like we human, different subject will react differently. Some subject, as soon as you try to approach, they will start walking. They don't follow, because if they don't stop, they will not stop. They will keep going. So now this, I just use fisheye, and this vehicle is mine vehicle where I'm shooting, and that's the approach what I call circular, spiral circular, where you never head towards the vehicle. You take a circle and then you keep reducing, stop, then you keep reducing your circumference, and then till you reach, and subject know that you are approaching, but you never approaching them directly. So that is how you can really approach subject if you have a proper way of. So technique means it is not that you have to know your gear only. Technique means as a wildlife photographer, that's why I keep saying you should learn more about behavior of your subject also. You should know how your subject is reacting, how your subject behaves, and with a proper guide, proper ranger, proper supporting staff. That's how you can really approach wildlife in a right way, and you can create some compelling image. Again, the lion was sitting on a little higher mount ground, and we were on the ground. He made a wild with skill, so they were guarding it. He's watching the vulture who is flying on the top and just keeping a watch onto it. And this is how you can really create images. Again, just shooting from the low is not a wide angle. I think it is shot with 70 to 100. But then you can feel the landscape. You can make the landscape as a part of your subject. I very much try to create images where when you see the image, you at least get a feel of the place, that what kind of habitat subject is. That is the main reason why I'm doing a lot of camera trap, because overall we pay too much attention to the subject. Overall, we means me as a wildlife photographer also, and the general public also. The same emotions or same, what I mean to say, feel we don't have for the habitat. So habitat being a part of frame is also, this is again not a very close shot like what a wide angle shot should be. That lion was supposed to cross a river and was coming up. We were waiting here, and I was expecting that it will go across the frame, and but our position was that we can feel the beautiful sky in the background. We were prepared, but he chose to take the other way. But still, I like the frame that the vastness is there, the vastness of the sky, the vastness of the plane uh, is there, and then a subject. So that's how you can create interesting images. uh, Now I come to the another interesting concept, which uh, what I call is creating sense of motion in a still photography. Now, still photography by nature is a still photography, isn't it? So to get a feel of a movement in a still photography is a challenging, but if we do it, it is rewarding. Like, see this picture, and we can feel that there is some movement is there. The cubs are running. They have a energy. You can feel the energy. You can feel the some movement in the frame, isn't it? Now again, the lion cub who is running around here and there, and you can feel that it is going from left to right. So we call it as in a technical word, we call it as a panning or no, motion blur or many different names. But the idea is that as a photographer, intentionally we shoot at a slower shutter speed. Now there is a difference between long exposure and slow shutter speed. Long exposure means there is not much ambient light, and by default, to get a correct exposure, the shutter speed has to be longer, like we are doing a star trail, night photography, XYZ kind of thing. Slow shutter speed means there is a decent ambient light in the environment, but we choose to shoot at a slow shutter speed. As a photographer, our intention is to shoot at a slow shutter speed. Got my point? Means आपको 1/400, 1500, 1100 speed is you can get if you want, but you choose to shoot at a slow shutter speed. The slow shutter speed, what I'm talking is from 1/100 till 1 second. That range. Between that range, if you experiment, if you try something, you might create a sense of motion, because now panning, what is panning is basically you follow the subject, because you are using a very 1/50th is a good uh, uh, shutter speed to start. Faster the subject, you can shoot at a faster shutter speed. Slower the subject moving, you have to really come 1/10, 1/10, or even further slow, half a second. But the slower you will become, there are chances that there will be vertical shake. The horizontal panning will be not that smooth. So what we do, when I used to start going in 2012, 13, I used to practice lot of with 70 to 100, standing on the roadside morning around 7, 7:30, when I used to drop my son. School bus used to come, and I used to practice. Every bike is going like na from the road, double road, standing on the one side and follow them, catch them around 45-degree before they are coming, and shoot as soon as they cross you, and follow them for another 30, 45-degree, and like that, practice, 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 and then you will get some control where if some part of subject can be in focus, then the pictures can become interesting. Like, now this wild beast is a part of migration, with the main component of the migration. If you shoot them like that, they are not that beautiful animal. They are like a mixed match of antelopes and cattle or something like that. But when you shoot them with the panning or something creative, or like you can make out that cheetah is in a move. You can make out that if you see the feet of this lion, it looks like he is in a hurry. He has some urgency to go somewhere. So some part of the head or some part of the body which you have followed matching with the speed of the subject will be sharper, and then because you are using a slow shutter speed, your shutter will be open for a little longer time, and the background will be appear as a streak. It will be blurring out, the streaks will be there, which will give you a feel of movement. So that is a one way of doing a motion blur, that you move your camera along with the moving subject at a slower shutter speed. What should be the speed? There is no ideal speed. It depends upon what is the subject, how what speed. But I am giving you a scale, 1/100 to 1 second. Between this, we try, we might get this effect. Another way of creating a sense of motion is you don't move your camera and use as a referral point as a now the animals will wild beasts which are at the background are stationary, but the one lot which was running and coming out of the river was running. So I use a slow shutter speed to to give a feel of a flow, a energy, a movement, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But we experiment here. The some herd who have entered into the river were drinking, so I have to work out a critical shutter speed, where now you are shooting in either manual mode or a shutter speed mode, because the shutter speed which what you are controlling, okay, depth of field accordingly. If you are getting, it's good. If still the light is too bright, you can use ND filter, 4 stop, 2 stop, to cut the light. And so that uh, suppose sometime happens when you are doing waterfall in the daytime, isn't it? And you have reduced ISO to 100 and your aperture is went to f16, f22 also, but still you are not getting the what you're not getting, the shutter speed what you desire, because light both hai. It is a bright daylight and you're getting a good shutter speed. So how you can do, you can use a ND filter and you can cut the light, 4 stop, 10 stop, and you intently try to create a slow shutter speed, so that now the background wild beasts you can see they are moving to the river. So there is some still image, again is a still photograph, but you can get a feel of some movement in these images. That is what. Srinathar, what was the time? 6:45 or 7? Just type it because I can plan my talk. So that is the another way. What I was. 6:50. Good. So another way where you can, as a photographer, improvise to the situation and create some different image. Different man. I will keep coming to the different, because obvious will not work in today. Now another example is sometimes in equator, especially close to equator, we know that weather changes too fast. It rains suddenly, evening sky changes suddenly. So be prepared that whether you are going in a rainy season or non-rainy season, always keep a rain cover in your bag. Both is very reasonable product, few $100. I keep always for my longest lens a rain cover in our in camera bag. We have a bottom place where that camera rain cover comes, isn't it? Usme ek you keep a fixed rain cover, and it really helps sometime when it is start raining. Your part of your lens will be out. Obviously, the body will be inside your lens, but we don't stop shooting because different adverse condition will create interesting images, dramatic sky. है ना? So a lens pouch can really keep you shooting even when what I mean to say, the weather condition suddenly changes or something like that. I just show you the another image. So don't stop shooting because just it is going to rain or it rain, and there is saying that the rainbow will come only after there is a rain. So अगर आपको rainbow shoot करना है, if you want to shoot the rainbow, then there has to be rain, isn't it? So keep ready for all the condition. Keep a pouch in handy in your bag, because it doesn't cost much and you don't have to cancel your uh, shooting schedule. Now lunch वगैरह हो गया, we take a normally lunch break, and then because it's a standard across the world. So either it is India or whether it is Africa, the noon time will be dull by 8:30. Lions went for sleep, and all cats are resting. Unless there's a river crossing kind of thing where you can try this panning. The panning is a very good to practice with the wild beasts because their numbers are in hundreds. You get enough time to keep practicing, and then you might get some interesting results or something like that. Then I prefer to take a noon break for a couple of hours because I know it's non-productive and we start our day very early and we will finish our day very late. So it's good to come back, have a refreshing kind of thing, and then go back into the field. Now, by evening, another like I did a morning backlight session. The another backlight session start at the late evening by पहले क्या earlier what we used to do even by 5:30 we used to shoot front lit. We used to bump shutter speed, we are not getting, light is falling, and then we are not getting the shutter speed, so we will start bumping ISO will keep increasing. F4 आ गया, f 2 point we had still shutter speed 1/38. We try to struggle but try to get a front lit. But now happen what couple of years I stopped shooting backlit front lit again by 5:30. By 5:30 I will start looking for a subject which we can again use for a backlight. Now, luckily, in Indian forest are lots of tree canopy, and the subjects are not stand out how the all tall and mighty are in Africa, like giraffe, like elephants. We get lot of opportunity because for crafting silhouette, we have to have a subject who appears above the horizon. Now, I tell you, one of my absolute favorite thing in Africa is to create silhouette photos. If you see my portfolio, I can post hundreds of silhouette photographs. That is the part of photography which I love. Because again, as I told in the beginning, obvious will get a obvious response. The silhouette will grab a viewer's attention. It because the contrast between the darker subject and the beautiful light or amazing background, you can be more creative with silhouette, and you can feel a emotion, a mystery, some kind of thing which will draw the viewer. You will try to see more that what what subject is there, little more interest into your image, so you can have a more meaningful connection between the viewer and the and your photograph. So again, I told you, everybody knows how giraffe looks, how ostrich looks, how tiger looks. सबने सब देखा हुआ है. So it is not that we want to show the detail of the subject. It is the environment we want to show. Again, we are not looking for a correct exposure. We are looking for a exposure what as a photographer we want, what we want to show. For us, whatever the right exposure, that what exposure. I just give you a little bit because it's again a very big topic to discuss silhouette. But I just give you idea now. Just two photographs to show that from when you're creating the silhouette, from where to get exposure and where to focus. This is a question people keep asking. So now, as I told, for us now when the evening sky is become very beautiful, dramatic, orangish. So the sky exposure is important. So our exposure is from the sky, and most of our cameras, the camera which we use, like I use Canon, on my thumb both are there. Exposure lock is there and the back button is there. For such thing, back button focus is also excellent option. Otherwise, front button also you can hold it and then you can recompose it. So my concept is very simple. I will use a spot metering. I will take the sky, not the sun, a sky which is between brightest and the darkest, somewhere the medium exposed sky. Take an exposure lock from that. Now use the back button, focus from the subject of your interest. Now in this first photograph, the exposure is correctly for the frame. So what will happen? Obviously, because it is in the shadow effect, the sky will be blown out, isn't it? But in the second photograph, the bottom photograph, the exposure is from the sky is correctly exposed, and the focus is on our subject. So obviously the subject will be into the shadow, so it will be only have a outline shape, but that's what we want. We didn't want to show the subject here, we wanted to show the background. That is our concept. So the concept is very simple. Exposure is from the sky and the focus is from the subject. Okay, and the back button focus and the exposure lock of your camera do. And once you get the focus, then you recompose it where you want the subject to be in the corner, because sometimes subject will be very small. So better to use a center focus, focus it, and then recompose it, and then you can create something very interesting pictures. Again, subject is by the shape, by the form, you can easily make out that it is a elephant, isn't it? And then it depend upon that evening what kind of sky is there, what kind of clouds pattern is there. Every evening will be different. There no two evening. Even during lockdown, when we were sitting at idle in the Bangalore, and we used to spend a lot of time in our roof. Normally we don't do, and I was surprised by the amazing sky we get in the Bangalore also. The water tank, overhead water tank was also looking amazing. And so overall, sky is beautiful all evening, and Bangalore sky is also amazing. Many people are posting sky photographs during this lockdown time. So what I'm saying is the sky will decide the image. The sky pattern, the cloud pattern will decide what kind of image. But concept is same. We have to find a subject which is above the horizon. If it is below the horizon, what will happen? It will merge with the horizon, because you see the light on the horizon and the subject is same. A cheetah and her cub is resting, and they were settling for the night. Cheetah don't are not much active during this time of the day. They don't move in the night like how the lion or the leopard will move. So they were settling, and the sky pattern was coming out from the sky. So concept is very simple, but the sky and the subject how you are placing will create the images. Good, we are on time. The nice. This is a topi. The sun is going down. So evening you can include the sun into your frame, because the evening suns are not that bright. They will not spoil the overall exposure of your frame. But morning sun really very harsh. As soon as they come out of the, you can't even you is not good to put them into frame. They are too harsh for your camera also. But evening suns are good. They really create some beautiful images. You can create. Again, the elephants are going and the sun is setting. I have just reduced little bit shadows to get some detail. And subject like giraffe, elephants are really awesome, because they are well shaped, well defined, that even a part of that here the giraffe's legs are not fully above the horizon, but still you can make out that they are giraffe. A pair is there, and a cheetah on the mount. Or and sometimes what you can do is, instead of getting a dark shape of your subject, if subject is like this leopard was on a mount, really a female which is very comfortable with the vehicles around, and so we can use a external flash to light the subject. And here what I did is, you just use a fill as a fill flash. Again, the exposure will be from the sky. Sky is properly exposed, and now what we are doing is we are just putting a light on the subject, so that we can get some detail on the subject. Here I use, I think, half CTO or quarter CTO, just to get a little, instead of white flash falling onto the subject, to balance it with the orange sky. I have might have so either you use a wireless flash transmitter, or you just use a long cable, give it to your guide or driver that okay, thoda little bit left, 1 or 2 feet away. You hold the flash there, dial -2 or -3. Just give uh, a small, no, a light to glow the subject. So you can do either silhouette black subject also, and then effect can be varied depend upon sky. The nature is beautiful, I tell you. When you are in open, when we have a time to see the sky, every evening sky is not African sky to beautiful. Everywhere the skies are mostly are amazing, dramatic, but we don't have time to see them mostly. So this is how the sky pattern changed. Now what happened earlier, by 6 o'clock our photography used to stop, because shutter speed is to fall too much. But now the new cameras, by bumping the ISO to 3200, 6400, and with the software to support to reduce the noise, our shooting time has really increased. Like earlier by 6 o'clock, अब इसके बाद शूट नहीं हो रहा, बहुत डार्क हो गया. But now you will surprise, we can really shoot till 7 o'clock. Fast lens, आप 70-200 2.8 करो, ISO 6400 करो, we shoot till. And now the concept is coming that earlier we used to call golden hour, कि भाई sunset, after the sunset, this much time is the uh, is the good time to do the silhouettes and a silhouette kind of thing. But now the concept of purple hour is coming. That after golden hour there will be another phase start, which we called it a purple hour, when the sun goes 9 degree below. I am not exactly remember, but I have read about it. That that is how when the sky start becoming purple before it become dark black. So our shooting time has increased. The images which were not possible the sky before, now we can create because of the equipment, what the better equipments what we are getting. So now you see the sky is getting more into the violet color, more blue shades are coming into the sky. This must be a shot around 6:30. Okay, when your camp is non-fence, non-open, such animals are available around your camp also. So your camp is here, and you are shooting just 50 meter here and there. So and these are common subject there. But what I mean to say is your shooting hours has been increasing because of the new advanced cameras what we are getting. You can shoot till 7, 7:15. So from golden hours we are moving into the purple hour. Just couple of minutes, Srinath sir, we are done. Now see again, uh, sky is dramatically changing. You can see how low the shutter speed is there. He flicked the tail is blur, but still we are able to get beautiful background and subject. At I think this we have shot at close to 7 o'clock, and because nowadays our cameras are capable of shooting. So when I was at beginning, I was saying कि we have to implement ourselves is in mean to say our gear what we have we should know it very well, the capabilities of DSLR what we spending money on. Not I'm talking about the best high end 1DX kind of thing. Even our 90D, I'm just saying Canon because I'm using Canon, but they are very capable. They are so much capable of shooting. And I will close with a comment which Manju Mohan has told in the introduction. See, nowadays, getting a sharp, well exposed photograph is not a big achievement. As a photographer, the gear what we have, the gear what we take into the field, we know their capabilities. 5 6 year back, when I got the 7D, that has a 9 autofocus, 9 cross type autofocus. Now today 1DX Mark III has 151 cross type autofocus point, total 190 focus point, 20 frame per second, 15 per second. If somebody is saying he is getting a sharp, well exposed picture, I'm telling you, is the part of your camera what is doing. Our contribution is very less, as honestly I tell you as a photographer. So, what is our role as a photographer is how we, our thought process, use that tool and create something more where the photographer impression is also shown into it. I follow one photographer. I can't close my talk without quoting him, the Paul Nicklin, and he writes very good talks. He talks very good, and he's net geo, amazing photographer. Though he's an underwater photographer, but he has a very simple line that uh, shooting sharp, well composed, taking well composed, sharp pictures are just the beginning, is not the end. So that is the minimum what we can do with the equipment. That is a role where the equipment roles finish, and the above that is the photographer role actual starts. Got my point? Okay, Shriyam sir, I think I have done.
If you want to take a swig of water, I think you should do that, Yashpalji.
No, no, it's okay. I
You've
had
been
a
on
couple
it.
of in between. I had a
Okay.
couple of in between.
Okay.
So good. We finish on time.
I mean, if you have them ready, I think people will appreciate some of your camera trap images. If you just for
पहले
before we
बोलना था
begin,
ना सर कैमरा ट्रैप.
uh,
Now again we have to fight how to share them. अच्छा, just let me see if I can
Lightroom में खोल दीजिए अगर हो सकता है
use
तो.
that Lightroom and show it. So what I have to do is I have to escape this,
Minimize
and
this.
then the Lightroom will, I have to minimize this. Okay, then I have to
No, if it's not too much of a trouble, that's all, Ishmael.
नहीं नहीं, अगर हमारे पास टाइम है तो ढूंढ लेते सर, 2 मिनट.
ठीक है.
I will like can we see this ti- tiger which came onto the screen? Is it see? Is the Lightroom is
हाँ, आ गया, आ गया. Yeah,
visible on the screen?
yeah, yeah. Yep, perfect.
So I just show you because I think this hard drive is not connected. But let me just show you a couple of here and
Yeah,
there.
no issues. I mean, the reason why I asked that is, having known that you've done some of those images, I think
And
people
sir,
will
we have
appreciate.
camera trap.
Yeah, आराम से. I think take your time, no issues.
Sir, we'll have a
But
camera trap workshop, YPS. I'm not, we can have another dedicated on remote trigger or camera trap. We will do a workshop dedicatedly.
without us asking, you volunteered. Thank you very much. That will be phenomenal. That will be great. It will be great. Anyway, I think with this particular session, I think you just showed us how versatile you are, uh, how you know how much experimentation that you do. Just 1 second. I think okay, there you go. How much of experimentation that you do, what kind of efforts that you take to go beyond the mundane. I think that pretty much stands out in most of your images. And the common theme that I see amongst the comments today is how good a teacher you are, and the efforts that you've taken to explain the how to's, and talking about monochrome, talking about textures, the backlit part of the images, the low angle shots, and of course composition. uh, you know it's the journey that you showcased to us, from dawn to dusk in the savannah was amazing. I think it goes without saying, on behalf of everybody watching and on behalf of YPS, this was a phenomenal journey. Thank you, Yashpalji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shayan sir. Thank you very much.
So let's move on to those
Okay.
questions now. Nandan, if you don't mind flashing some of them.
No.
आ जाएगा. Okay, Dr. Pradeep asks a
No.
question: can we just underexpose the shot with evaluative metering rather than exposure lock and spot metering, etc.?
Yes, Dr. Pradeep, that is not necessary that we do the spot metering. There is a two-way. Either you start with -1 underexpose, normal your metering, evaluated metering or centered whatever metering. You can start with shooting with full -1 stop. That is, I told you, two way are doing. Either you do the spot metering and get a correct exposure what you want. Other is you start with -1 and then see the result. And if you are not happy, you want to under or over, then you from there you either do little underexposure or an overexpose. But you start with -1 and you can always achieve the. But that will be a little trial and error. But that is how you should start, because suppose you are not comfortable with the spot metering, it is not that what metering we do, our idea is what result we have to achieve. So it can be done by both the way.
Next question, Nandan. This is one of our members. Do you take special permission to start your safari early at 5 a.m.?
No, we don't take. What I mean to say, at 5 you get by 5:15, have a tea, coffee, get into your vehicle by 5:30. So when you plan at 5 o'clock, everything falls in order
Hmm.
by leave into the field by 6 o'clock. That's what I mean to say, that we start early when it is dark. Normally, what happen if you plan for 6 o'clock, you wake up, you come, have your morning tea, and by the time, most of the time when you sit into the vehicle, then you realize somebody has not put up the memory card, somebody has forgotten the battery onto the battery charger. So
Yeah,
5:15,
all
5 is the
busy.
time when we meet in the dining hall, the dining area, then have our tea coffee, check that everything is there, sit into the vehicle, and then you start rolling. So 6 o'clock, I think, is a 5 minute, 10 minute here and there. I think it's allowed.
I think this is the point that you made while in discussing one of the pictures, wherein a little bit of kind of oneness, or same thinking process has to be there in that group that you head out every day. If there's one person who is not you know efficient, and make sure that all equipment is there, everything is available, be on time, then it makes
I
the
think
whole
now, Srinath sir,
process
everybody, all photographers who are little bit even amateur or serious, they know the importance of the morning light.
correct,
Everybody
correct.
understand nowadays. Everybody knows that cats will be active till morning 2 hours, and after that, it is for tourists to just to spot how many lions they have seen sleeping under the bushes and all that. That is, all photographers knows the importance of early morning going out. So we don't have to teach. Only thing is the belly upset, or it is like I told you, something
Hmm.
lost, something forgotten. These things which delay. Otherwise, all are up, all are valid discipline, and when they come with me, they know there is a purpose, there is a objective, there is a reason why they are going with me, and we have a like clear cut define who should come and who should not come.
Okay.
It is
Okay.
very well
Yeah,
mentioned.
absolutely important. Absolutely important. Yeah. Thank you. I think it makes sense. Which parks, Jeev Natarajan asks, which parks in Kenya would you recommend for a first time visitor who wants to have a versatile experience? This is asking for everything, but still.
I will tell you, Jeev Natarajan, sir, the best place is Masai Mara because the biodiversity of the wildlife is amazing. The cat density is really good, and the habitat is so that the sighting will be good. When we say that Africa, the whole Africa is not a savanna. If you go to Botswana, or if you go to like even Samburu in Kenya, or other parts of Africa, there will be a woodland, there will be a shrubland, distant. And Africa and Serengeti, Masai Mara and Serengeti is a savanna kind of grassland. And other reason why I'm saying Masai Mara is good to start is the logistic, because we have a direct flight from India to Nairobi, and from Nairobi it is just 5 hours road drive. So connectivity and the options of accommodations is very huge. Options are available. So all this together, if you put the Masai Mara is a, because first time when everybody goes, he want to see the big cats, try to take a good portraits, and no, feel the all the major animals. And after the second three trips, he start looking about the habitat, and no, then the Botswana, then the Zimbabwe, Rwanda, that kind of things comes into picture. The first trip should be the Masai Mara, no doubt about it.
So just as a follow up to that question, Yashpalji, so typically between the private reserves versus the one that are open to public, in the sense semi private, let me say that, you have been to all, I suppose. So can you spend a minute on the differences between those
See, let's talk about Masai Mara only.
from a
On the
photographic
periphery of the
perspective?
Masai Mara, yeah, there is a private conservancies are there. Now, because they are not government park, they have a lane in the rules. You can get down from the vehicle. Obviously, in the guidance of your guide and all that, you can go for a late evening safari. After dinner, you can have a night safari and all that. And then they try to restrict the number of vehicle also, that because the lodges will be high end and they don't want too many vehicles to be around. So overall, if you have a money to spend, the private conservancy will have a better experience. But having said that, Masai Mara is and overall Serengeti is such a vast area that it never become that congested. But
Okay.
like in Botswana, a lot of private areas are there. Like in Kauai, and the part of Okwanga Delta where we go, you really have a great freedom. Freedom mean I say when I say freedom, I didn't mean that we can break the rules or X Y Z. I mean to say that you have a creative freedom as in Indian park, you are restricted to shoot sitting in a vehicle with a particular angle, particular height. So if four people are sitting, somebody might be using 400, somebody might be using 500, but almost we will be doing identical work. But when you are into this private conservancy or a private game park, you have a creative freedom. Like where the elephants are coming for a bath or drink, you can really put up your camera before. You can really low flat on the ground. So you have an option to try it out different things. As I told,
Okay.
we can use the flashes there. In Indian parks, we are not supposed to use flash, the mobile or the shoot point and shoot. People use flashes randomly. They fire. but we are not supposed to use. So you will have a creative more freedom when you go to the private
Private park.
reserves compared to the
Okay.
government or national parks.
The reason I asked that question is there's quite a few number of questions asking about Flash. So I think people know that as the main difference where, where can you use it and where can you not. So see again, there you go. Arjun Harit asked a question: is the use of external Flash allowed in game
Yes, sir.
reserves?
Yeah, not guide nature. No, there's no rule that you can't use flash. So if I show you the leopard picture, again it depends how you are using and how wisely you are using is a flash. Now suppose we are using a camera with 10 to 15 frame per second, and you are using a flash. So it will not be good to shoot with 15 frame per second and using a flash. Got my point, what I'm saying? Because
Yep.
we know
Yep.
that
Makes
we have
sense.
to create one or two picture. So we will be using 3 frame per second slow shutter speed. And then we will be checking the output of the flash. It is not just for sake of firing flashes we will be firing. So then you
True.
take a shot, then you will be seeing the how the effect it is satisfactory or not. Then you will be either dialing under exposing the flash power or overexposing. Then you will be again taking a shot. So that is how if you use wisely, and I don't see any study which says, because when you go to the studio for your own personal photography, modeling photography and X5, we use flash, and I do a lot of camera trap where also I use flash. I never seen subject bother about the flash. Wherever they are bothered, they are more bother about the sound of the camera than to the flash is so instinct, so fast. When you say that, we say about 1/2000 what flash duration, what we say, which is too fast to affect anything. It is because we've been told that, or we have been restricted that not to use, so we don't. Now, just I give you example, Arjun sir. We use lot of flash in macro when we do the night.
Mm,
We
correct.
can't do the macro subject, or there also the subject is so tiny. We are using flash. We know
Correct.
nobody had did a study and to tell that it is adversely affected. Again, there we have to use wisely. You can't have a group of
Correct.
5 people and everybody is doing on one frog or using so much flashes. Again, a small group, take 2 3 shots, give a break. So it is depend upon how you are using. The tool is there.
That is
The flash is made to be used, whether it is a human subject, everything. So as such, there is no restriction.
no. I mean, I agree with you, especially on the frogs. If you go as a team, probably the fifth person who wants to take the photo of the frog will have his irises closed, and pretty much
True.
eyes will be pretty
If a
shut.
person knows
For
is a naturalist, he can make out that frog went into the sleep mode by the time the
exactly.
third photographer came. That's why a very few people should be there, and then there should be interval. You can, if you know the nature by the iris, as you told, you can make out whether he is comfortable or not. If you're not comfortable, just come out of that zone, give him some
Okay.
time, or find another subject like that. It is your responsibility how you're using it.
So true. So true. So true. Next question, Nandan. Okay, our own Murli Santanam asks a question about: do you use filters while shooting or achieve it while post processing?
No, Molly sir, most of the time when we were discussing the backlight at the early morning, the atmosphere was like that, but I just shoot between 7 to 8,000 white balance also. So depend upon your taste. You can, by the white balance only, you can get that effect. So 8,000, 7,000 is a good. Some people go more up, but again it is, see, it is a creative. When we say that photography is a art, and when we should be artist, and then it depend upon personal taste to taste how you want to put. It is no standard rule that that should be the white balance. Again, it is a creative thing. So I normally keep around 7,000, and then the sky will become accordingly what the tones are there. No filter I use for getting that orange.
So, do you use a combination of CPL and probably a three stop or a six stop, depending on the circumstances?
CPL, again,
Not,
see, filter,
yeah,
as I told on the that leopard picture. See, the flashlight is a white light, and all the
mm,
natural. It will not look natural if you use a just a blank flash. So depend upon, uh, like, because I do a lot of camera trapping, I use half CTO, quarter CTO. Depend upon what kind of warmth effect I want to create. So normally by default I put a that film filter, not very the thin filters. I tape on the flash, and
mm,
quarter you
mm,
always put, if you want you can add little bit more. So
correct.
They are very cheap film kind of
So
filter. No? Those
this will be
production film production company use.
light modification on the spur moments that you can do. Yeah, I can see where you're going with this. So, any other question, Nandan? Okay, BV Prakash says, how will this approach will be the subject of fast moving like chasing? How do you do that? Is a question that he's asking. Especially the panning shots that you showed of the wildebeest, or the the animals that you showed before that.
I'll
Are
give
you
you Prakash.
moving? I think that
Actually,
I'm trying to reiterate. I'm trying to interpret the question.
no, you. What I'm saying is, all depend upon experience of your guide, and when the cheetah hunt happened last time we went, we were standing where the subject will be there, where the cheetah is there, what direction will be coming, and you will position yourself around 200 meters somewhere else, and then you will wait for that your experienced guide knows really well that how the hunt will be there. And it will also depend what kind of focal length the people photographers are having. Like if you are using really long lens, we will be positioned somewhere little far, so that no, the chase will be for few seconds, but the surprisingly distance cover will be huge. To
Okay.
it will might go 100 meter to 200 meter in quick interval of time. So in chase kind of thing, you have to position yourself depend upon from the where the predator is coming, where the prey is facing. We can get some idea that which direction the subject will move. But
Okay.
what you ask, Srinivas, about the wildebeest, all that we know that the crossing will happen, they will be passing through it. This is the path they will be taking it. So normally, beforehand that what will they will be moving left to right at what distance, and accordingly you can position your vehicle, and then you can do the panning shot. And wild beasts will beasts give you a ample number of opportunity. There will be hundreds of
Opportunity.
going, and you keep practicing and you keep practicing. So cheetah chase will be in a week time when you go. There might be one and two. So that's what I told in the beginning when I start going to Africa, I was practicing with to catch a two-wheeler running on a road. If I can catch
I
a
know.
two-wheeler or Activa Honda scooter running on the road, there is a chances that I might catch a cheetah. But if I go first time in Africa and my anxiety level will be so high, my excitement level will be so much that even if I am a good photographer, there are chances that I will miss it. So, but the more the
So
practice
rightly
you
said.
do, the better it is that there is a chances that you might able to get hold of it.
So it becomes part of your muscle memory. I mean, you kind of get
True.
used to that, right? So
Yes.
yeah. And then anything else? Okay. Which part of the year? Raj Singh asks, which part of the year is preferred for those vibrant skies,
I've
the
been to,
magenta through orange
especially in
transition?
Masai Mara, in quite a different season. I've been to November, I've been in February, I've been in May, I've been August. So overall, what I realized, close to equator, the sky changes. It is
Mm.
like in our geography we have learned it close to the belt of the around the equator, the sky become dramatic, and the morning might be clear, and by the afternoon the cloud formation will become. By the evening there will be a small shower or something. So they will be there. But uh, the August where we go, September, the skies are really good. I've never seen a flat sky throughout the week in Mara. There will always some character in the sky throughout the every time we went there. The rainy season, obviously, the cloud will be more, and this June, July, when the post monsoon, the sky will be more. But the cloud formation, the formation, the character will in the sky will come from the clouds, isn't it? It is the sun will be same. It is a cloud who will the pattern of the cloud will create the colors and the different mood. So I think clouds are there throughout the year.
No, I think one trend that we've seen, especially when you talk about low angle and wide angle photography, which includes the environment and the habitat. I mean, the sky plays a huge role, and
True.
we've never seen many shots that have missed the mark as far as the sky is concerned. Probably the subject might be a little bit here and there, but the skies have always been phenomenal, especially in that part of the world.
Beautiful sky. African sky, especially the Masai Mara sky, is awesome. You will fall in love with that as soon as you because of the nature of the terrain, you can tend to see a lot of sky. I tell you, our
Okay.
Bangalore sky is awesome. If you get a chance to see more often a sky, it is dramatic because our climatic location is something like that. It's every evening is different. So similarly, the only thing is we're not able to see the span here because of the urbanization or whatever we say.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at least we got a chance now in the last 6 months to experience it. Get it, like you
True.
said, get out on the terrace and see the sky a bit more. So true. Okay, thank you, Yashpalji. I think those were some of the questions. We clubbed some of the questions because they were similar, so we pretty much had a lot of them answered. I think we have a couple of points on our agenda. If you have the certificate of the price that we sent across to you, two things. One
Yeah,
is
I have it.
obviously, and then the memento
Shall
as
I
well.
share
So
that screen?
yeah, please, if you can.
Let me first share the and announce the winner.
Yeah, please.
Yes, screen to share. It appeared.
Yeah,
I think it is
control L
coming.
the
Yeah, it is coming. So heartily congratulations, Ranganathan C, for winning second prize in section animals. And the image is Brother Sinam. Many congratulations. And judges are Sachin Rai. Awesome. Sachin Rai is my favorite photographer. And as Satish. Awesome, guys. Congratulations, Ranganathan.
Thank you, thank you. Dr. Rangnath is
And
an orthopedician in Bangalore. I hope he's watching. If you are, Doc, congratulations on behalf of all of us for your beautiful picture, Brothers in Arms. I think it makes a lot of sense to that you have won the second prize. Absolutely. And Yashpalji, one
and
more small request.
no, I have something special
I
gift
know.
came from you guys. I was not expecting you will be so fast. And thank you to Mr. Satish and whole YPS member. It is like customized name written, date written, everything is well. Thank you so much, and it's awesome. Thank you very much.
So, on behalf of everybody at YPS and our viewers watching, we thank you for your valuable time for the past couple of hours, to have spent with us, and the more than anything else, educate us and give us inputs into what can be done. It is not just about seeing the picture, watching the picture, or looking at a photograph, but what goes behind the scenes, the effort that goes in, and along with that, a bit of education that helps us in wanting to do what you have done. No question about that. It has been a very lovely experience for us. I think we've had close to around 200 people join us on this session. We very much appreciate your time, and to everybody at home, you can contact Ishpalji and all his on multiple social media sources on Facebook and Instagram, and you don't have a website, do
Instagram.
you?
I have yashpalrathore.com. I given, but
Oh,
right
is
now
it?
Instagram is in fashion. That's what been told to me.
I
So
know.
I'm
I was.
active on Instagram.
It's
So
periodical,
I
right? Yeah, it
regularly
goes up.
post on Instagram. So
True.
that is where you can
So
see recent work.
please do follow him on these places, and do let us know your feedback on both YouTube and the Facebook live streams on what you've seen today. Once again, Yashpalji, on behalf of everybody at YPS, thank you so very much. You have a good evening,
Thank you to you,
and
sir. Thank you for hosting me, and thank you to be part of this. Really enjoyed it. I always love to share my knowledge with budding photographers. I really enjoy it.
thank you very much. Have a good night, everybody, and stay safe, and stay away from trouble. Good night. We'll see you tomorrow
Good night.
at
Good night.
5:30.
Good night.
So just to follow through on that, tomorrow's presentation at 5:30 is going to be on. Is going to be by Mr. of Mangala Jodi. So hope to see you all soon at 5:30 p.m. tomorrow to experience the magic of Mangal Jodi. This is going to be one more phenomenal presentation, pictures that you probably would not have seen ever. So with that, have a good night, folks. Good night.